Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive?
Always.
Awesome. Today, we're going to be exploring Pink Floyd's Brain Damage
Ooh, nice.
from The Dark Side of the Moon, one of the best albums ever, through the lens of Chassidic philosophy.
Oh, wow.
So get ready for some mind-bending stuff. This article we found
Yeah.
is seriously fascinating.
I bet.
It takes this song, which is known for
Yeah.
exploring madness and isolation,
Right.
and connects it to this whole deeper concept of the soul.
It's amazing. You know how brain damage is all about these inner struggles and alienation?
Yeah.
Well, this article ties those themes to the idea of the soul's essence and how it connects to the powers we experience every day.
So, setting the scene here,
Okay.
it's the 1970s. Dark Side of the Moon is, everywhere.
Such a classic.
It got this really atmospheric, kind of unsettling sound, right?
Definitely.
And Brain Damage just adds to that with lyrics about, literally brain damage.
And in feeling lost in your own head. Exactly. Yeah. And Chassidic thought digs into that feeling of being lost. You know that feeling when it's like, there's someone in my head, but it's not me.
Oh, yeah.
It gets really deep into that. See, in Chassidic thought, we have two main dimensions of the soul.
Okay.
First, we've got these revealed powers, your intellect, emotions, actions.
It could be everyday stuff.
Exactly. And then there's the essence of the soul. That's the pure, perfect core of who you are.
So wait, is the song saying that, the lunatic in my head is those revealed powers, but kind of going haywire? They're in a state of exile because they're disconnected from that essence.
Boom. You got it. That's exactly what this article is getting at. Exile in Chassidic thought is all about disconnection.
Okay.
Think about a time when you felt totally out of sync with yourself.
I can think of a few.
Right, your actions and your values were totally clashing. That's like a mini exile from your essence.
I get it.
Your revealed powers can't fully express the soul's essence because something's blocking the connection.
So when the song's there's someone in my head, but it's not me.
Yeah.
That's that feeling of alienation, right? If our you is missing, I've totally been there.
Oh, absolutely. We all have those moments. And then it gets even more interesting. Remember the line, you rearrange me till I'm sane?
Yeah.
Well, that's how we try to fix things just on the surface without really dealing with the root of the problem, that disconnection from the essence.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So if exile is this feeling of being lost, disconnected, what about the opposite?
What do you mean?
Redemption.
Ah.
What's that supposed to mean in all this?
Redemption from a Chassidic perspective is when the world gets refined.
Refined.
Yeah, in a way that lets your soul's essence shine through.
Okay.
It's about harmony between your actions, your thoughts, and your soul's true nature.
Huh. So is that what they mean by, I'll see you on the dark side of the moon?
Yeah.
It's about meeting that hidden essence, going to those unknown parts of ourselves.
That's a really cool interpretation. Yeah, that dark side of the moon could symbolize what's hidden, that essence that we lose touch with during exile. Redemption is about bringing it all into the light.
And there's also that line, you shout and no one seems to hear.
Right.
That's totally that feeling of being lost in exile.
It is. And with redemption, you get that feeling of being heard. You have a purpose now.
But there's also that line at the very end of the album.
Oh, yeah.
There is no dark side of the moon, really? Matter of fact, it's all dark.
Oh.
What's up with that? Honestly, that part always kind of throws me off.
Right.
It feels so out of place.
It's a total curveball, but it's the most thought-provoking line in the whole thing.
Yeah.
What it's suggesting is that the essence is always there.
Always there.
It's not empty. It's the source of the greatest light.
Wow.
But it's hidden during this exile. We'll talk more about this, but I want to hear from you, listener.
Yeah.
Have you ever connected with that feeling of exile?
Yeah. What do you guys think about all this?
Yeah.
Let us know.
We'll be right back.
Okay, so we've been talking about this whole exile and redemption thing.
Yeah.
But how does that actually work in real life?
It's a great question.
It's cool to talk about philosophy and all.
Yeah.
But what does it mean for us? Sitting here right now.
Right.
What are some examples of how we actually feel this disconnection? And what can we do about it?
Well, think about those times when you feel that inner conflict, your thoughts and emotions and your actions aren't lining up with your values. Those deep down values and hopes.
Yeah.
Those moments can feel like a mini exile from your true self.
I was actually just reading something about that.
Oh, yeah.
It was about decision fatigue and how it connects to this idea of exile.
Interesting.
When we're constantly bombarded with choices, it just drains us.
Oh, I feel
It makes it
gone.
harder to connect with that inner voice,
Absolutely.
the one that guides us towards what really matters.
That makes total sense, right?
Yeah.
If our revealed powers, those everyday decision-making parts of us,
Right.
are exhausted, they can't express the wisdom of the essence.
Yeah, it's like being lost in a maze.
Totally.
Just too many options, can't find our way back.
Exactly.
So how do we even start to bridge that gap? How do we tap into that deeper part of ourselves and bring it in to our everyday lives?
There are many paths, but one powerful way is mindfulness.
Mindfulness.
And introspection. Taking time to quiet the mind, observe your thoughts and feelings.
Right.
Without judging them.
Yeah.
That can create space for the essence to emerge.
So it's not about forcing ourselves to be different.
Right.
But more like becoming aware of who we already are deep down.
Exactly. Cultivating a deeper connection with your inner self helps you make choices that are more aligned with your true nature.
This reminds me of something you said earlier.
What's that?
About fixing things on the surface versus addressing the root cause.
Yeah.
It's like putting a Band-Aid on a wound without cleaning it first.
I love that analogy. It really highlights the importance of introspection, of going beyond those quick fixes.
Yeah.
And really understanding why we struggle. It's about asking yourself, why am I feeling this way? What is this experience trying to teach me?
That's a good point. So mindfulness and introspection are key.
They are.
But are there other things we can do to help us on this redemption journey?
Absolutely. Things that nourish your soul.
Like what?
Spending time in nature, listening to music that moves you, connecting with people who inspire you.
Yeah.
Anything that sparks joy and brings peace and wholeness.
So if those things help us reconnect with our essence, are there things that can pull us further into exile? What are the obstacles we might face?
That's a good question. One of the biggest challenges is fear, I think.
Fear?
Fear of what we might find out about ourselves.
What do you mean?
It can be scary to confront our shadow side.
Oh, I see.
To acknowledge those parts of ourselves we try to hide.
It's like that line, there's someone in my head, but it's not me. It does feel easier to pretend those parts don't exist sometimes.
Exactly. But true redemption requires embracing all of who we are, the light and the shadow.
Okay.
It's about acknowledging our imperfections, without judgment.
So it's not about being perfect.
No, it's not about achieving some perfect state.
Oh, okay.
It's about accepting the messiness of being human.
I think I'm starting to get it. It's empowering to know that we have a choice in how we experience things.
We do.
But what about the world around us?
Right.
How does this idea of redemption relate to how we interact with others and the systems we live in?
That's a fantastic question. Redemption isn't just about us as individuals. It's about creating a more just and compassionate world.
Okay.
We're all connected, and our individual journeys are part of a bigger story.
So as we connect with our own essence, we can better see and honor that essence in others.
Precisely. When we live from a place of wholeness and authenticity, we naturally treat others with kindness, respect, and understanding. It's like a ripple effect. As we heal ourselves, we help heal the world around us, too.
That's a beautiful way to put it. Our individual journeys are linked to the journey of humanity as a whole.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
I think so, yeah. You're saying our efforts to connect with our essence are part of a larger movement toward a collective redemption.
Yes. And that's where it gets really exciting. Because if brain damage is a metaphor for the human experience, it's not just about our personal struggles.
Right.
It's about the challenges we face as a society. The lyrics talk about madness and isolation.
Yeah.
Don't those themes resonate with some of the issues we're dealing with today?
You're right. We see so much mental health struggles, political division, people feeling isolated.
Exactly.
Like we're collectively experiencing exile.
That's exactly it. And that's why this conversation matters. If we want to move towards a better world, we need to understand what's pushing us towards exile, both individually and as a whole.
Wow, this is a lot.
It is.
But it's also really inspiring.
It's like brain damage isn't just about personal stuff.
Right.
It's a call to action for all of us to heal and transform together.
That's a powerful insight. Because true redemption means addressing exile at every level. It's about creating a world where everyone has the chance to connect with their essence and shine their light.
That's beautiful.
So, listener, how do you see redemption playing out in your world?
Okay, so we've talked about exile and redemption, personally and for society as a whole.
Right.
But how does all of this connect back to brain damage and that whole idea of the dark side of the moon. Is it really all dark?
Well, remember, we've been using the dark side of the moon as like a metaphor.
Yeah.
It represents those hidden parts of ourselves, you know?
Right, those fears and insecurities, the stuff we'd rather not think about.
Exactly.
This can feel pretty dark sometimes.
Yeah, and what Brain Damage does, what the whole album does, it invites us to actually confront those dark sides.
Oh, okay.
To bring them into the light.
So like that line, there is no dark side of the moon, really. Matter of fact, it's all dark.
Yeah.
You're saying that darkness isn't separate from us. It's part of who we are.
It is, and by acknowledging those darker aspects, we can become more whole, more authentic.
Okay.
It's not about pretending the darkness isn't there.
So not about getting rid of it, but like learning to, I don't know, dance with it.
I like that, learning to dance with it. It's not bad in itself.
Okay.
It's just part of being human.
You know, it reminds me of what we talked about earlier.
What's that?
The essence of the soul is always there, even when it's hidden.
You're right.
It's like the darkness might be covering up that light inside.
Exactly. Redemption isn't about becoming someone totally new. It's about uncovering who you already are.
Like peeling back the layers, taking off the masks, and embracing everything.
Yes. It's a journey. And it takes courage, compassion.
Yeah.
And being willing to face those uncomfortable truths about ourselves and the world.
You know, this has been an incredible conversation.
It has.
We've gone from brain damage to Chassidic philosophy and found all these amazing insights about like what it means to be human.
Yeah.
It's crazy how much depth there is in a song I've heard so many times.
I know, right? It shows how powerful art can be, how it connects us to something bigger.
Yeah.
It makes us think and question the world.
Maybe that's the message of the dark side of the moon, right?
Maybe.
It's like an invitation to explore what's hidden inside us and in the world. To embrace both the darkness and the light.
And to remember those two sides are actually connected, like the two sides of the moon.
So for everyone listening, as you go on your own journey, think about this.
Okay.
What does redemption look like for you? How can you embrace all of who you are and help make the world a better place?
That's the journey. And like Pink Floyd reminds us, the first step might be acknowledging that lunatic inside. Not as something to fear, but as a part of you that wants to be understood.
What an amazing thought to end on. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone, and keep exploring.